It's the dreamscape.
Welcome back, dreamers, to the Indie Synergy Exchange podcast, your podcast for all things indie art and creation. And this is our episode 20. Had to put that in there because it is a big milestone in podcasts. Not a lot of podcasts get past 10. So the fact that we've doubled that means that we are here to stay. I'm your host. I forgot to announce that. Tanner, also known as Number 2 Pencil Man. Normally I say that first, but we threw it up this time. Threw it off. Whatever. I can't talk. I'm excited. We have an amazing guest. And of course, I'm joined by Rachel Andromeda, our musical poet author. And we have a very special guest tonight. We have Dreams of ZEPHYRUS.
Hello. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here.
We are so excited to have you, and yeah, we're excited to get to know all the amazing things about you and your work. But before we begin, I have to go over all the good promo stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast. If you enjoy what we're doing, please be sure to give us a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Helps us grow this platform so that we can help get other indie creators of all kind into the spotlight and share their amazing works with you guys and the rest of the world. We are a podcast by indies for indies. We're bringing the power back to indies in any way that we can. So if you want to support that, please be sure to, like I said, do all the things I just said, and also follow us on our social medias. We are the Dreamscape Empyrean on all platforms. And if you're interested in being on the show, reach out to us. We would love to have you. And yeah, more than likely you'll be dealing with me when you reach out, but we'll get you scheduled and we can broadcast you to the world. So this is episode 20, like I said, big milestone. We've had amazing guests in the past. We've had about 17 or 18 other guests, and they're all different. We've had comic book creators, we've had clowns, we've had a doctor of psychology, poets, musicians. We've had a lot. Anything that you can do indie, we have had on the podcast, and we will continue to feature in the future. So if that applies to you and you want to be on the show, like I said, hit us up. And that is my promotional bit. So without further ado, we have a wonderful guest here tonight. I am going to turn it over to them and let them introduce themselves and tell us a brief introduction of who they are and what they do.
Oh my gosh, thank you very much, Tanner. My name is Dreams of ZEPHYRUS, and I like to cultivate a space where my dreams come true. Dreams usually meaning songs or anything you like, anything you want. I try and make it happen. When I say anything, I mean anything that I want. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I like to do a lot of kind of indie folk, indie electronic stuff. That's like my main genres of choice. Throwing a little indie rock there too, just because. But yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I gotta say before we begin, I love the name. I wanted to ask first off, how did you come up with that name?
It's a funny story. So when I first started out putting my music out there, I went through a bunch of different kind of ideas and stuff. And at the time, I was going by ZEPHYRUS. That was my chosen name. Not so much anymore. Just didn't feel like me. But I still really loved it. And at the time, that's how I developed this dreams of me. So this dreams of ZEPHYRUS. And these dreams being my songs or my creations. So that's how the name kind of came about.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really
Thank
cool.
you.
Rachel.
How long have you been doing this for?
Well, I've been formally putting out music I would say, when I say formally, I mean like seriously putting it out there, for about, I think my first single is that was up last summer, so approaching a
Mm.
year.
Wow.
I'm very, very happy, like how podcasts, this is 20 episode. I feel really proud of myself that I've even made it this far, and I'm
Yeah,
still
that's awesome.
trying, I'm still
Hmm.
doing it. So yeah, it's been about a year, maybe a little less than a year. But music has been a part of my life since a very long time, for decades. Well, maybe not decades, but over a decade. So yeah, it's always been there, and I've just been more recently taking it seriously and wanting to put my stuff out there.
Nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Did
How
you have another one?
I was just gonna ask, like, so did you sit down and say, I want to start writing music and producing and putting it out there, or was it more of an organic process for you?
It was definitely organic.
Hmm.
It was really funny because I have this one memory as a kid. I was, I feel like 8 years old. This was I started playing guitar when I was six.
Oh wow.
Another really funny story. Because originally I was like, I don't want it. I just saw a guitar and I was like, no. And then my parents got me one. I didn't like it. But then, like a week later, I was like, I want the guitar back. And so that's when it started. I started playing, and maybe a couple years later, I started just kind of experimenting with different things. Like, there's this one song I remember I like started as like an 8-year old. It was like one line, but I just kept playing it, and maybe one day I'll make it into a real song. We'll see.
Hmm.
But that's when it started. And then I would say I took a little break. And then in high school, I started actually making more songs myself. So that was felt very much like just a boom. I was like
Hmm.
very much so. How did this? Where did this energy come from? And when is it going to run out?
Right.
Because it seems like it came out of nowhere. And luckily, I don't think it has run out. Fingers crossed. I
Hmm.
don't think that's how it works, but I'm
Hmm.
hoping. And then I didn't, yeah, I think it was very much, I loved it, kept it in, my back pocket for a long time. And then only recently I kind of came to terms with the fact that I was like, I really want to do this. Like, I want to give it a real shot, which is really scary
Hmm.
because, it's not the most stable thing to get into, but, you know, I'm lucky I have a great support system, and I'm taking it one step at a time. But yeah, long story short, kind of organic with little spikes in between that
Hmm.
just seemed to come out of nowhere.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like so much of art is best established when it's just an organic process. It just, there's no pressure, and you can kind of just allow yourself to become whatever you are. And in my experience, if there's too much of a like push to be very rigid and too formal about it, you almost lose a little bit of your soul in the process.
Yeah.
Mm. I can relate to that. I feel like anything that feels forced, it just kind of, I don't know, makes me not want to do it anymore. It's like, yeah, no.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
So that's awesome that it's been with you for such a long time. It seems like it's basically interwoven throughout your entire life. And it's amazing that you've realized, like, this is what I want to do, and you're giving it that chance. So, first off,
thank you.
awesome. And congratulations on doing that, because that is such a hard thing for many people to do. It's that first step where it's like, am I going to try? Am I going to do this? And you said yes. And honestly, like, listening to your music, like, I found you on TikTok, and the first song that I heard of yours was The Garden. I love that song.
Yeah.
It is got this hauntingly beautiful melody to it, and just the vocals behind it. It makes me feel like I'm walking through a fantasy world. And
Mhm.
I love that. And then I went through and I listened to your other songs, and it's very similar, but I can tell you're passionate about what you do, you love it, and you're being genuine. And that is such a feat of any creative out there is when you can blend it all together. So I am super impressed with what you do, and yeah, I'm super excited. I would love to know more about the passion that you have behind your works. Like, what inspired you to write the kind of music that you are writing currently?
Oh my gosh, I can spend hours on that.
Please
And
do.
first, thank you so much because it means the world hearing things like that. Like, it's just because it's one thing where it's like, I make music that resonates with me and, I think it sounds
Mm,
nice, but it's great to also get that validation and hear
it's
things like,
incredible.
yeah, and, oh, thank you. You're going to make me cry. Like,
I'm just
um,
supporting you. I mean, honestly, all of us indies need that encouragement and support. And I am, like I said, I am
yeah.
thoroughly impressed. I loved pretty much all of your music that I listened to, and I'm pretty sure I listened to most of your songs.
That is so sweet. And thank you. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that I put out there, a lot of the stuff that I've been making recently, it's just been stuff that like either has I've personally experienced or just I have like a really weird way of taking things that have happened and just kind of not romanticizing them, but
Mm,
definitely twisting them in a kind of creative sense, which
Mhm.
is where I like to get a lot of those fun, like I love playing with words and imagery and stuff, and with that, the different sounds and
hmm
all these things. So essentially, when I, make music or, when someone asks, like, oh, like, yeah, how did you start making it? Then I just ask myself, it's just a matter of why I'm the way I am,
Mhm.
and then the music just kind of helps me. It helps me express why I am the way I am, or like what
hmm
exactly is going on. It's like a diary. It's
Yeah.
it's quite literally a diary in code, where if you pay attention, you start to kind of see what's going on.
mm
And it allows people who maybe have gone through other things or can resonate to it, makes them feel less alone, or they're
Yeah.
allowed to take whatever they need from it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I hope that answered your question, but feel free to repeat because again.
No, that's great. I mean, it's amazing. I could tell through the lyrics of especially The Garden that there was personal ties to you in the song. And that's I feel like part of the power behind it. Like I said, when you're able to blend it all together, it just makes such a more powerful piece to show off to the world and does have more of an impact, I definitely find.
Yeah,
Um, Going along with that question though,
yeah,
the style that you chose to convey it in is very poetic and also like ethereal and kind of like with that techno influence mixed in. Did you always want to write music that sounded like that, like with the techno pop type folk genre?
it's really interesting because it's never something that I thought I would have been drawn to originally. Because growing up, I listened to a lot of very folky, I listen to a lot of different things, but when I think of music that I would want to make, I always think about like, oh yeah, like folk and like stuff like that, and I still love that sort of thing. Um, but I think the main thing that introduced me to more of that sort of electronic feel was just having my MIDI keyboard and messing
Mhm.
around with the different
Yeah.
synths and stuff, because I'm going to tell you guys a secret.
Oh.
I'm not an expert in what I'm doing.
Gasp.
I'm winging it. No idea what I'm doing. Like, I've taken one class in music theory, and it was in high school, and it was during COVID. So I don't remember anything from that. But it's that sort of thing where it's like a lot of it is just experimenting and trying things that I didn't think I would like. And then I really did like it. And I'm like, okay, that sounds kind of cool. But it took me a long time to kind of lean into that a little more, lean into the more electronic, ethereal sound, because there's a little bit of a steep learning curve that
Mm.
comes to music production and stuff. And it's, and I feel like I'm coming out of the curve, but it's still, a lot of the times I still get scared. I'm like, oh, I'm going to drop back in. I'm going to forget everything, or it's just, I'm going to make something that's so bad and I'm
Oh.
never going to be able to make anything again. I know that's not true, but yeah, so essentially it was just experimenting and, you know, trying things that I didn't think I would like, and messing around with the different settings, and, you know, also looking up a lot of different tutorials and being like, how do I use a compressor? What is a compressor? Yeah, stuff like that.
Wow. Your music definitely sounds pretty well put together when you listen to it. You wouldn't know that you're just winging it. I just gotta say.
I think
That's,
that's, in my opinion, I think that's the best kind of music, actually. You know, like I grew up playing the flute and I was classically trained in that. So, you know, like all the classical composers, you have Mozart, Beethoven, all of that. And so when I started producing music at first, I thought, well, I need to like notate this music and I need to be very structured about how I do all of this. And I felt very like restrained from that. And I realized over a series of months that that wasn't really going to be who I was as a musician. Like that wasn't
Mm.
the way I was going to write. And the more I've loosened up with writing music, the better I think it has been. And I don't really worry about a metronome. I don't really worry about, well, I mean, like I try to keep it in tempo and everything, but I'm not as rigid as I used to be. You know, like I'm much more just kind of like, I'm going to play it by ear, just see what feels right in this moment. I usually write the lyrics as I'm playing around with the sound.
yes.
And I think that's better. I don't know how your experience has been with that, but sometimes I think the classical training can almost get in the way because you feel like you have to do everything right, you know?
No, 100%. And I'm I'm not classically trained, but I've definitely heard that sort of thing where it's like once you know the rules, once
Hmm.
you know how things work, it's like you don't want to break them.
Right.
And it's, yeah, but then you realize it's like, oh, it's kind of fun to tinker around though and
Yeah.
maybe break them a little bit, you know, just a
Absolutely.
little bit, just give it a little crack or something.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I can 100%. I find myself, yeah, I can get stuck in that mentality too, where it's like I'm trying to create a new song or something, and I get stuck in using the same chord progressions, or
Hmm.
I just get in my head about like, oh, this sounds exactly like something else I wrote,
Hmm.
and just taking a step back from it then, and
Yeah.
just going on a walk.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you find yourself like, I find, at least I find myself kind of judging my own work too much sometimes where I'm like, I found that I really can't say, oh, I want to sit down and write a song about X, Y, or Z. You know, like I can't sit down and be like, I'm going to write a song about walking through the woods. Maybe you're different, but, or I'm going to write a breakup song, or I'm going to write this song, or a love song, or this. Like, it just doesn't work that way for me. Like, I think for me, it's almost like I just sit down and my fingers just start to create a song on accident through a piano, right? So
Oh yeah.
I'd be curious to know, like, for me, it's almost like there's a deeper self that's trying to come through, and it's pretty self-revealing. Like it's almost like I didn't realize that this was what I was feeling until I started to really tap into it and really write this song. And I'd be curious to know if you felt like, as in the process of writing music, this has been a self-revealing process. Like, is there something that has taught you something about yourself through your music?
Oh, 1,000%. I was about to say 100, and that's not even. I
Yeah.
have to bump it up. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how my latest single, not to plug myself, um, came
Plug
about.
away.
My latest single, "Back to the Village." um, it started out as I was in this transition stage of life where it was also right around graduation season for a lot of people, so I wanted to capitalize off of that. I'm not a business person, but I was like, maybe people will latch onto that. And it ended up like,
Mm.
yes, it kind of is like a not coming of age, but definitely like a transition
Mm-hmm.
kind of song. But it turned into less about graduation, because usually graduation is something that's like happy, and for some reason I just can't write a happy song. It's got to be a mildly depressing one. Um, and that is, yeah. And as I was writing this song, as I was writing Back to the Village, I was like, a lot of other things started popping up, things that I knew that were, you know, parts of me that I was just trying to shove down or trying to ignore, being like, oh, XYZ, whatever that happened years ago, I shouldn't be, thinking about this scenario or what.
Mm.
Um, but they were still there, and that's kind of how I ended up, that's how it kind of turned into what it is now. It really is. It's quite therapeutic. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it really calls me out. I'm like, I just want to write a nice thing, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you're not going to do that. Don't do that. That's silly. And I'm like, okay, cool. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's a very interesting process of just realizing, oh, like I didn't realize I was feeling this way, or I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize how much fear was inside me, and how that then manifests in my process.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know one thing you mentioned was like how you like self criticize your work and stuff.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm the same way, and that's what stopped me for so long from putting
Mm-hmm.
stuff out there. Anyone who's listening to this, if you want to put your stuff out there, do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, because at first it's not going to be. I have so many songs that I like produced and I thought I was going to put out there, listen to it again, and I'm like, that's staying in the closet for a long time. But you just keep doing it, put stuff out there. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's an audience for everything, truly. Like, but yeah,
Absolutely.
little PSA for anyone listening.
I love that. Right up our alley with encouragement. Do
Yes,
it. Pursue the
do it,
stuff.
please.
I get hyped up and then I start to get like super like excited and the fists
Yes.
come up and I'm like, yes, keep preaching it.
Oh, I tried.
Ah.
I try, because I know I needed to hear that years ago. It's just
Mm-hmm.
do it.
It's a very good reminder. And that it goes for everything. Like everybody just hesitates to take that first step because of all these different things. It's either they don't think they're good enough or don't think anybody's going to like it. And it's what you just said perfectly encapsulate. There is an audience for everything. Like I'm a giant pencil superhero. I didn't know how well that was going to go over, and
And I
people are like
love
loving
it.
that. And
Yeah.
so you never know. You'd be quite surprised at the audience that you're going to attract, but you will in
Oh yeah.
time. If you are persistent and continue to chase your dreams, you will find the crowd that needs to hear it and experience it. So I'm right there with you.
Yay. That's great.
Motivation's one of my main things. I'm like, yeah.
Yes. It is great. It's so important. We all need those reminders.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
True.
And hearing it from people who are doing it and experiencing it, it's the best, honestly.
I like to think
So
so.
inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Um, so I was gonna ask, this is like more like a music question again. I'm just curious, like what's your springboard instrument? Are you jumping into each song with the guitar because that's your sounds like your main instrument, or do you just start with the MIDI keyboard, or do you start with the lyrics?
It's kind of complicated and not. I usually compose my songs first on the guitar because it comes easier to me that way. Just because I have been playing that for a little while longer. Um, and then what I'll do is I'll then kind of take the completely composed, completely, with the chords and the lyrics mainly are the two things. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'll use a MIDI keyboard, my lovely little MIDI instrument, to kind of produce it using, like Ableton is the big thing that I use, and then do all the vocals after that and clean it up. And for a long time, I didn't actually put my guitar into the like songs themselves. Like Back to the
Mm.
Village, I think is the first one where I actually had my guitar playing. And the next thing that I'm gonna release, not for a little while, we got time. But that one also has my guitar into it. So I'm slowly trying to incorporate it more
Mm-hmm.
because I do love my guitar. She's my pride and joy. Like I do not have any children aside from my 19 dolls that I started collecting. But other than that, my guitar is my firstborn child. So I want to showcase her more in songs. It's just, yeah, definitely intimidating because trying to blend guitar with MIDI keyboard and more electronic stuff can be kind of an interesting intersection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's fun to mess around with. Yeah. So
Totally agreed.
I kind of
I'm
want to see what the guitar looks like now.
I know. I unfortunately it's not here. I think it's downstairs, but her name is Hummingbird because she has a hummingbird on like
That's
her.
awesome.
I don't know guitar anatomy, which for the amount of years I've been playing, I really should. On the thingy, hummingbird on the thingy, so I call her Hummingbird. But yeah,
That's cool.
thank you.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, Rachel,
awesome.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, it's totally fine. Just feel like I have a lot of questions about um, what your perspective on like social media and the
Mm.
platforms, and because I think from what I can tell, you're from generation Gen Z, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm a millennial. And so I think the millennials have a very strong opinion one way. And I'm curious to hear your perspective on like social media, Spotify, iTunes, all of that. What you think
Always.
it brings to the table, what it takes away. Where are you on that?
It's definitely a very interesting time to be a musician right now,
Hmm.
because of social media. Like in one instance, it's so great because you don't need a big record label. You don't need
Hmm.
to start with, you know, a bunch of wealth, or you don't need to necessarily know anyone famous to get
Mm.
into it. Um, like I think about, I'm not a musician, or I am a musician. I'm not a music history
Hmm.
buff person, but I was talking with my dad about this, and he was like, "Yeah, it was just different in the '80s where, you needed a record label, or it was just a lot harder to make it on your own."
Hmm.
It definitely presents different challenges. Like on the one hand, it is such a good tool to have in your toolkit to be able to navigate social media and be able to,
Yeah.
create engaging content. And I think it's great because you can really interact with the audience in a really intimate and special way. Um, but through that, I think it does create some issues, like anything does. I
Yeah.
wish I wasn't so reliant on it for a lot of the stuff that I do. Just a lot of like the promotional stuff,
Mm.
but it's definitely an interesting tool. I'm still so new to actually properly promoting my music.
Yeah.
um, and it's so hard to predict because sometimes videos will do pretty okay, and then other times they'll just flop so hard, and I just
Yep,
have to laugh. I
I
just
get
gotta
that.
laugh it off.
Ridiculous.
Like, yeah, but that's like, I guess my take is I'm grateful for the fact that it is there.
Hmm.
But like anything, I'm optimistic that it can get better.
Hmm.
Obviously it depends on how you use it, and I think a lot of it is it's a combination of luck and just, do you know what you're doing? And
Yeah.
it takes time to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, social media. It's hard to know. I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying about like it's very unpredictable with trying to get the algorithm to work for you. And um, I don't want to age myself here, but like, what the hell? I mean, I remember a time when there were no iPhones, of course,
Oh
and
yeah.
and my first phone was a flip phone, and
Same.
so the
No,
world
I'm
was
the same
very,
way.
yeah, the world, it was very different back then, and there was no social media for a long time. Or, well, I mean, I was a kid when social media started to become a thing. I was in high school, but um, you know, I think the thing that I have a hard time with even still is that I'm always begrudgingly on social media, because like I think what I was saying to my boyfriend the other day is that the thing that I see that's so different from now versus then, and I've been watching Stranger Things again because it's like the best show ever. And there was like a sense of mystery, back then. There was a sense of, we
Hmm.
don't know everything all at once. We don't have access to everything. And so
Mm.
every single person had a sense of mystery. Every venue, every experience was new, and it was fresh, and it was very mysterious. Like, you come into everything just not knowing exactly what to expect, and not having control, or even I guess, a voice, a say in the matter. Like, you don't
Mhm.
really get to state your opinion about the fries at this restaurant, or this song, or whatever. And I think that's what I'm always curious to hear every musician's take on this, just because I guess I want to know how I can learn, and how I can shift my perspectives, because I'm constantly thinking, how do I preserve as a musician this sense of mystery, or this sense of, I guess, organic kind of music writing, because I
Yeah.
did come into this with like just wanting to have a piano at my fingertips, and wanting to have like an instrument. And so much of it now is about how the video looks, or how you look, or
Yeah.
how when you're hitting the streaming, and when you're hitting the audience at what time of day, and all of these things that I feel like as musicians, you have to you have to know so many things that have nothing to do with music. So anyhow, I'd just be curious, like, what your advice is. Like, if you think, I mean, I don't see if there's an option to not be on social media. I mean, would you agree with that, or do you think there's a way to do it without social media?
I think that is a great question, first of all. And I
Yeah.
totally agree with the fact that with social media, there is a lot less like mystery. You don't have to use as much imagination because
Right.
you have everything at your fingertips. And that can be so damaging. Like I think about the stuff that I was exposed to on the internet and stuff, and I just think about how it's 10 times worse for kids growing up now.
Mhm.
And I think with musicians, it, presents so many options to the point where it's like, I don't know what to choose. It's like that
Yeah,
one dilemma where it's like, if you have more than five choices, you don't end up choosing anything. Um,
exactly.
and I think it's very much like that with social media, where it's just like, there's so much to learn.
Yeah,
And
Mhm.
there's just, you don't know where to start.
it's
I know
overwhelming.
this is really quite the hopeful answer to your question, but I think the main thing to start to kind of get into that sort of thing is just pay attention to what other artists are doing that seem to be doing well in the social media, way. But you don't want them to do like too well, because if you get into like hosier level wellness, then it's like he's not really using social media in that same way because he already has a fan base. You need to go for
Right.
like the people that are
Mhm.
rising and seem to be blowing up. It's like, okay, what are they doing, and are there ways that I can, kind of not copying them, but taking inspiration from them.
Hmm.
I guess it's like that mindful consumption of like what you're
Hmm.
doing or what you're consuming online, and maybe just being like, okay, how can I, if there's a trend going on, how can I make this into a possible video for music or something?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's definitely so many different things you could do. I don't think you need to, though. I think there are still a lot of people who have really strong followings that aren't necessarily using social media or just don't feel the need to. A lot of people do like local live venues and
Mhm.
stuff, and it really
Hmm.
just depends on, what you want to put your energy to and what, is the most accessible to you.
Yeah.
Um, like for me, I would love to do live shows, but right now that's a little intimidating. So I'm
Yeah.
going to start little.
Yeah.
um, yeah, and just, I guess that's my long-ish answer
No.
is, definitely don't, if you tried social media and you're like, this is just not for me, I truly don't think that's the only way,
Hmm.
'cause that would be very sad,
Mm-hmm.
'cause I think social media is not the most user friendly for everyone.
Right.
And that shouldn't bar people from still pursuing what they want to do and trying to put their stuff out there.
Hmm.
um, yeah, it might take a little while longer, or it
Yeah.
might,
Yeah.
your growth might look a little different from someone who is doing another method, but it's
Totally.
still growth, it's
Yeah.
still.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
I
want
mean,
to piggyback in there quick, Rachel. Sorry.
yeah. Sorry,
Um,
I'm dominating
no,
here.
no, no, you're good. Rachel is our question person. She is fantastic. She's a reporter. You can obviously tell. She's very good
That's
with
so
questions.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a girl boss, super girl boss, slay queen,
Yes.
amazing. Uh,
Thank you.
now there's gonna be that clip on the internet of me saying stuff like that. That's fine. I'm cool. Uh, to go along with what you're saying, the in-person stuff, I'm actually like in between here. So I try to post consistently on social media. I always
Yeah,
have a hard time because I work a 9 to 5. A lot of us
it's
get
hard.
it. Yeah. So I find it's easier for me on weekends because I have a comic book, and that's part of what Number Two
Yeah,
Pencil Man is. I go to a lot of venues and I dress up as the character and I sell my comic.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I'm finding like I'm not social media is weird. TikTok has been my most successful platform so far. I grow, I'd say, more consistently than the other ones. Like Instagram
Yeah.
and Facebook, I kind of just forget about those.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've started to notice some growth on Instagram, but it's because I go to the live events, and
Oh, that's
Huh.
great.
it's the live events that have been good, like for building up my fan base. Because now I have fans, and it's weird. It's really weird when you start getting fans that love what you do. I know I said this before, but it's like now I have like a bunch of friends. I call them friends because they basically treat me like a friend. They'll message me on social media, sending
Yeah.
me memes and stuff, and be like, "Hey, when's issue 2 coming out? Hey, you're at this convention. I'm gonna come see you." And it's like it's weird, but it's cool. And what I'm finding is half of those people I met in person at these events, and then I also get more opportunities in
Mm.
person. And I was talking to a guy who he writes his own manga series and he sells it on TikTok, and he blew up on TikTok. Like he did all the stuff, got the algorithm on his side, started selling thousands of copies of his book, and is like self-sustainable now where he can like literally just do social media for a living. And I was picking his brain at the last convention, and he was telling me, you go for what they're doing, you kind of like see what videos are performing well, kind of like what you were saying, but he was like more so like copy what they're doing with your own stuff, but kind of do like the same format. And I'm just like listening to him, I'm like, this is good advice. But then I was like talking to him about like all the local stuff, and it's like for a lot of these people, it's either social media or in
Yeah.
person, or you don't really see as much of the in person stuff, I'd suppose, with like more my field, like comic books, because a
Hmm.
lot of
Yeah.
people nowadays with comic books do like the digital online sales, and
Yeah.
that seems to be the way that it's going, unless you do conventions. But it's like people, I feel like with social media, sometimes forget that there's this other route to go with like, hey, you can still do all this stuff in person, and
Mm.
Absolutely.
it's like
Yeah.
don't forget that. Don't just chase the online presence, because
Yeah.
ultimately, if you want an online presence, and like if you're going to be a musician, you want to perform places. Yes, while having the online presence can help, I feel like if you start out having like a mix of both, or being able to do in-person stuff, that could be maybe a bigger gateway, or something that gives you a huge boost towards it. And yeah, I was just like, you told us that you wanted to do live shows, so I want to encourage you. I feel like there would be, I don't know, I'm feeling like Renaissance vibes. Like you could probably do like fairy festivals and Renaissance fairs with your type of music. And I feel like you'd be very well received at those places if you're going to start out. And I don't know where you're located, but I'm sure that there's probably a ton, and they're
Oh,
becoming more
yeah.
popular.
Tons. Yeah. No, it's that is a great idea. I might have to do some research on that because yeah, it's definitely like a goal of mine, you know, in the next year or 6 months to just like do a live show of some
Oh, you
sort.
do great. They would love you at those events. Like seriously, with the persona too. Like you dress up, you play the part, you get into it.
Every
Absolute success at these events. Like you could become the folk legend at your local Renaissance fairs, your fairy festivals, and that could be like your gateway out into more, diverse audiences too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
go for it. Like I would love to see you perform at one of those live events. Like seriously, and if I was close enough, I'd try to come. That's for sure.
No, I want to, and I'm gonna make it happen. It will happen one of these days, you know. And the one thing I love about like live things, I feel like that also primes you really great
Mhm.
for being in front of the camera because
Hmm.
you just get comfortable, you know,
Absolutely.
talking to
Yeah,
people and stuff, and it's
totally.
just nice, you know. Then you see people face to face, you see their in person reactions to
Hmm.
things, and it's a big dream. It's a big dream of mine that will come true. I'm
It
manifesting
will.
it.
It
It's,
Yeah.
will.
it's
Yeah.
coming.
Speak it into existence.
That's my thing.
Hmm.
No, we totally agree with that kind of stuff here. We're big into the manifestation scene and the spiritual aspect of art and love it. I think like anybody who sets out to chase their dreams and pursue it, I feel like the universe has a way of just aligning with it. And you align with the universe and it aligns with you. It's like one of those
Yeah.
mutual things, and then you like come together on a path and it just opens up. And I feel like you're on that path and I can see it. And I think it's just a matter of time. Like honestly, as somebody who does a lot of live events too, like I just did my first in-person motivational speech a couple weeks back at a convention. It was the first time I was able to deliver a speech without shaking. Like before I would like have trembles, but I was able to own it. Having the character helps. I feel like it just adds a layer to it, and it's incredible. Like you get to go in depth with people. You get to, like you said, see their live reactions. But I feel like it's more of an intimate setting, and those people are never going to forget it. Like
Hmm.
social media people, they are more likely, I don't mean to say it like this, but they might forget about you. Like they'll scroll your video, be like, oh, this is a
Yeah.
cool song. They'll follow you, but how often some of those might not even listen to the rest of your stuff. It's just like the one and done followers. But the people that see you in person, I feel like they're more likely to build that connection with you that's going to like follow
100%.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I want to
It's
see that for you.
Thank you. And
Well,
congratulations
thank you.
on the first live event. That's amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely it's I've fallen into that trap where it's like I'll see someone on social media and I'll be like, that's pretty cool. I'll follow, and then I'll just forget. And it's like
Hmm.
I've got to go through these like cleansing my following list of like who am I following? Who is Sometimes I'll be like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Or I'll rediscover someone. I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is so I totally forgot.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and I've been on both sides of the
Hmm.
spectrum. Where it's like you've been the follower and you've also been the person that they're following, and it
Hmm.
is very interesting seeing that perspective from both
Absolutely.
angles.
Yep,
Yeah. Sorry,
absolutely.
I'll let you go again.
Yeah, I did have one question about all of this too, because I think, I wonder about pretty much every artist online. Are you concerned about AI's presence on social media and its ability to steal work and kind of copy other people's work? I just want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's scary. I definitely, with the creative side, I still have faith, and maybe this is me being naive, that, you know, it won't completely take over. But then I start seeing things like, oh my gosh, these one clips are kind of popping up a lot where it's these like fake news
Uh-huh.
channels where they're
Mm.
like, I'm in, the East Coast and there's a giant UFO behind me. And then it's like, just kidding, I'm not real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I've seen those.
it's getting harder and harder to tell. And
Yeah.
it's totally and absolutely with them like stealing yeah, just creative,
Hmm.
different creatives, energy, or not even energy, yeah, like work.
Yeah.
I know that's a big issue with a lot of or not, yeah, digital, like drawing artists and stuff,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
um, where they'll like steal the same art style or something, and it's just like it takes a lot of at first it takes, yeah, like jobs away.
Hmm.
It normalizes, oh, like, this thing, like, why is this so expensive when I can just get an AI version for free?
Mm.
And I get it. It's a double-edged blade, because on the one hand, I do think it could be used for good,
Hmm.
but on the other hand, far too often it's used for not good,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
yeah, it's a scary place to be. Like, I'm very
Yeah.
curious to see what it's going to look like in the coming, months or years.
Hmm.
What people are going to start using it more for, if it's going to be used to kind of, start manipulating people more, and, spreading fake news.
Right.
um like,
Totally.
yeah, I have like the AI that I remember is just like the really poorly done AI, which makes me
Hmm.
laugh. Which are the stuff that you can tell is AI, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, this is insane. But it is a genuine concern, and I'm like, I I don't know what to do about it. I don't know if, I think I can. I just definitely one of those things where it's like, right now the most I can do is just keep putting my stuff out there, making sure that I'm not using AI
Hmm.
for my creative process or anything, because I
Mm.
I will I will use AI for cover letters. I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I was applying for jobs, that
Hey, that's different though. I mean, at least
it
That's what we
came.
want AI for.
yeah, that's what AI
Yes.
works for. It's just like
Yes.
the practical little mundane things that you don't need to really think too hard about. Like even I just like it just for like research and it compiles everything and you can
Mm-hmm.
just have a look at an overview. But like
Oh,
when it comes to
100,
people's
100%.
creative work, that's what scares me is the plagiarism, as a writer. I'm just terrified of the day that AI starts writing novels and people start reading it because it's like I have my writing online. Like, am I going to look at it at something and see my writing, a sentence that I wrote,
Yeah,
in somebody else's work? And that's
Mm.
what scares me. And
it's
I think for me, the most important thing is just to continue the conversation and just like raise awareness, just like
absolutely.
get people to know, that it's not just, it's not original work. It is taking from other people's creative work. And I saw something just yesterday that I thought was very refreshing. There was an AI
I saw that.
photography competition, which I don't know how they can even justify, but whatever.
Hi.
And a real photographer who takes real life photos entered with his real life photo and actually won. And so it
Yes.
made a state. Of course, he got disqualified when they realized it wasn't AI, but it just really made this statement of like, actually, we yearn for something that's authentic. We
Yeah,
subconsciously are choosing the authentic things, and I think we're
Mm-hmm.
so biological that I think it's ingrained in us so much that I agree with you. I think I have hope that, eventually it will level out. Hopefully there'll be some laws against, IP
yeah,
protection, that sort of thing. Because I think intellectual property is just
Mm-hmm.
extremely important and it's not talked about enough. But yeah, in the process, I think just talking about it is just very beneficial to everybody.
I can assure you
100%.
one thing. No matter how good AI gets, it will never be able to replicate the soul that we can put behind our creations.
Nope. That's
Exactly.
that's solely ours.
Yeah.
Yes,
Pun very
solely.
much intended.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. No, this has
Yeah.
been a great conversation, and we've been speaking a lot about your music. I think it's about time we showcase one of your songs.
Yes.
Which
I
one
was
do you want to showcase?
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Well, Back to the Village is a fun one. I do like The Garden at Night. That one is a good one. I know you mentioned you liked it as well.
That was my
So,
first intro to you, but I'm cool with whichever one you want to share. I'll put it up on YouTube.
Let's see. I think let's scroll through, see what there is. Oh, Isadora I do love.
It was a good one.
Yeah, and that's like the only one with the semi-real music video. So
Do you want to do that one?
I would love to. It was my first single that I put out on Spotify, and I'm pretty happy with how it sounds, you know?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Isadora it is. Oh, not the ads. No.
Yes. That's a part of it.
Is it?
No.
Oh, no, no.
Who can I go to for my fix? Who can I run to when I'm in a pinch? Oh, it's you. Well, it's always been you. Magical powders under disguise, mythical pearls between your thighs, spreading your wisdom into my mind. Isadora, won't you open up your lacy green purse? Isadora, don't run out of love when you sell your stuff. And I know the greatness that you offer only proves to satisfy the shallowest desires. I'll swallow anything you give. Sanctify me with your body. Tell me all the deep dark things inside you. Embrace them with my whole being. My whole being. Isadora, won't you open up your lacy green purse? Isadora, don't run out of love when you sell your stuff.
Oh,
Wow.
before we do anything else. I love that. It is
Yeah, that was
such
so
a great
good.
sound.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Yeah, that one I love a lot. It was a fun one to make.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, I loved that. That was amazing. And I felt like it had such a beautiful atmosphere and just like very whimsical and just very fresh and just very original. But I feel like it feels very authentic. I agree like with what Tanner was saying. And I feel like it's a sound that we need more of right now. Like, you know, we're not hearing songs like that on the radio. And I feel like we should because
Yeah.
it's what I personally would prefer.
Me
And
too.
this reminds me a bit of Regina Spektor. I don't know if you know who Regina Spektor is, but I absolutely love her voice, and I love your voice. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I thought that was amazing, and I think we should be hearing you on the radio.
Yeah. Very
you.
professional sounding, quite
Yeah.
honestly. Like the way that you mix it and put it all together. You would there's some artists you can tell are indie, like, and there's not a problem. We love all indie creators, but like you can tell like there's different levels of indie art. The people who just start and just try to put something out there and they don't necessarily know how to put it all together, but you would never know that you were just winging it. Like, quite honestly, you just listen to one of those songs, it sounds so professional. So yeah,
Absolutely agree.
that's amazing.
Mhm.
That is so sweet. Thank you so much for all those nice words. It again, it means the world. And it tells me that it's not just in my head.
No, it's not. Definitely
No.
not. I think
It's
you
great.
definitely need to start performing and seeing your audience in person. Just you'll see how much people are just enraptured by your music. I think people are
Yeah.
just gonna absolutely stop and listen.
That's so kind. It is the dream. I live for moments like that where it's just like you see the impact you have or your
Hmm.
creations have on people. It's
Just
and then it
gotta,
impacts you, and then it's just an
yeah,
impact feedback loop.
absolutely, yeah. Just go for it. I mean, I'd love to see you performing next. You know, that would be
Yeah.
so exciting. I know it is. It is nerve wracking. I mean, it's a little scary, but you'll be fine.
Hmm.
Get into it, and you know, once you break the ice, it'll be easy.
I, you know, you all will be the first to know.
Okay,
I'll send an email. I'll be
I
like,
hope so.
guess who's performing for the first time?
That would be awesome. Please tell us.
Yeah.
Oh, I will,
If
100%.
there's a way that we can make it, we'll try. But I don't know where you're located and where it is in conjunction to where we are. But who knows? In the future, when
Okay.
all of our dreams take off, we can definitely
It's
meet you in person at some point, for
I was
sure.
gonna say,
Go
when I
for it.
make it big, you guys will be getting backstage pass
Yeah, that's
tickets for
that's what I'm
sure.
hoping for.
Oh, we'll be there in a heartbeat, like for sure.
Oh,
Hmm.
it's lovely to hear.
No, it's been incredible. You are amazing. Obviously, just gotta say that. I know we're getting close to the hour mark. Rachel, did you have any more questions for Zephyrus?
Um, I really just, I think we covered most of it, but I just kind of want to hear, like, I do have a technical question about like, do you like to write? Sorry, this is probably the worst question for like the end of
You're
this, but
fine.
like, I'm just curious, like, do you do singles only or do albums? Like, are you gonna create
I
albums or?
I want to do an album so badly.
Mhm.
It's definitely just the technicality behind it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I am able to promote it like
Hmm.
efficiently and stuff. So I heard this one thing from someone. I can't remember who. I'll probably remember once I finish. It's gonna bother me, but it's like the singles are meant to promote you as an artist, and then the albums, like the artist is meant to promote the albums.
Hmm.
So I'm using the singles as a way to kind of one like find my sound, find like what I really like, and
Hmm.
then I have a lot of different ideas for like mini albums or like EPs. A lot of ideas, but that's the issue with me. I have so many ideas and I can't narrow it down, or then I want to move on to the next thing, and it's just I got to find a way to take all of this lovely energy and
Hmm.
stuff,
Channel it.
streamline it.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you working on next?
Right now, I am working on releasing another single. This one is, I haven't teased it yet, so you guys are going to be the first to
Oh.
hear about it. It's going to be called Who Made You Feel Lonely? And I think if I were to kind of compare the vibes, if I were to combine like, what it sounds like, to me, it's like I took The Garden at Night and combined it with Back to the Village. So it
Ooh.
still has a lot of that acoustic stuff, but it also the ending is very boomy, very like it comes to a beautiful climax, and I think it paints a really beautiful picture, and it lines me up great for my next future projects, because it's
Awesome.
kind of a transition sort of song where it's like I really want to dive into the different characters I have and all
Ooh.
those things, because I want to get into like real storytelling with my music and tie them all together. So that's what I'm hoping to do with this next single, is to just tie it all together, put a nice little bow on it.
I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
I love that. The concept of characters and storytelling.
Oh,
One of my
it's gonna
big
get
favorite
crazy.
things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm so
cool.
excited. That is awesome. No, we can't wait to hear it. We can't wait to hear your singles, your future albums, because I know you're going to get to that point for
Oh,
sure. Like,
oh yeah, it will get
yeah.
there.
we're
Absolutely.
excited. We're definitely fans for life and friends for life. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I guess to wrap this up, I have one last question for you, and that
Yeah.
is, where can the audience find you?
That is a great question. You can find me you can find my music on, I want to say, all major streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, all the good ones at just Dreams of Zephyrus. And that's the same for Instagram, TikTok. I started a Facebook, really trying to just reach out as many platforms as I can get it. Just Dreams of Zephyrus. All the icons are going to be the same. It's just going to be like a little starry night sky with me crouching in it. It's kind of funny, but you'll know it when you see it. There's a little purple umbrella there too. So yeah, that's where you can find me. And I got links to everything on my Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. So yeah.
Yes, definitely go check them out. They are an amazing artist and definitely one to keep your eye on because they're going places for sure.
Absolutely.
I actually did think of one more question though.
Yeah.
Can you see through that veil?
You know, that is a great question, and I have about 30% visibility. That is part of the reason why because I love the concept of the veil slash blindfold, because it's like my idea of like, oh, like I'm still hiding part of myself and like still blind to a lot of things, but the veil is coming off. So it's, yeah, not fully. Like I'll still be a little covered, but I'll be able to see a little easier. So
The evolution of the character. I love it.
yeah,
I'm super excited. Sorry, I just had to ask. It's been sitting with me the entire podcast, and I'm like, I just gotta ask because I wear a mask. So I mean, mine has eye holes so I can see, but it totally still messes with visibility a little bit. So just wanted to ask. No, that's awesome. Everybody, definitely go check them out. Go check out their music. Go check out their socials. Follow them. It's amazing stuff. You definitely will not go wrong by checking them out. If you liked what you heard tonight, for sure. And before we wrap it up, Rachel, I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you had to plug?
I say this every week, but I am in the midst of writing a novel. I'm at the end of the first draft and kind of wrapping that up. So I'm not sure when that will be available, but you can check out the first chapter of my novel at elegantbomb.com. So check that out, please. I'd love to have your thoughts. So send me a message if you want to, and you can follow me at theelegantbomb.com. I also have a music page. You can follow Andromeda, theartist.com. And that's also on my Instagram, The Elegant Bomb.
Yeah, Rachel makes amazing writings and music, so definitely check her out. We're getting excited for that book. Like I said, we're going to do some kind of special launch thing for the book when it comes out.
Yeah, when I get done.
Yeah, we'll definitely be promoting it hardcore as a group because she's one of the core four. So
yeah.
And I mean, other than that, I am Tanner. You can find me on all social medias at Tanner's Tales Entertainment or Number 2 Pencil Man, which is my alter ego superhero, which seems to be like my main account nowadays because people love Pencil Man. So, hey, it works for me. I don't mind it. As for exciting news, I am about to get issue 2. It is being printed as we speak. Just waiting for the shipment. Once I get the shipment information, I should get that within the next week, and I will finally have issue 2 available of Number 2 Pencil Man. I'll be doing like a soft launch for it, probably at a local comic book store. Maybe I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to say that right now. So it's going to be an Instagram giveaway to kind of help boost the page, boost Number 2 Pencil Man and my business account. So you will want to be following those two if you want a chance to win both issues 1 and 2 of Number 2 Pencil Man. I will be doing a dual giveaway. So that way, anybody who wants to get into the series, if you haven't read it already, you'll have a chance to do so with both issues for free. And maybe a couple extra goodies, who knows. But that'll be up on my Instagram within the next week or two, so stay tuned. Definitely don't want to miss out on that if you wanted to get into it. And I'm also going to be giving away just a copy of issue 2 for the readers that already have issue 1. So just my way of being able to do 2 for 1, because I don't want to leave out any of my fans, the people that have followed me since the beginning, I want them to have a chance to get something from me as appreciation of just them being here. So yeah, all that will come up soon. My children's book is in the process of being formatted currently, and then that'll be out. Don't have a date on that yet, but we'll let you know as that gets ready to go. So I think that's all the news I have. So this brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for tuning into Indie Synergy Exchange. If you want to be on the show, like I said, message us on our socials at Dreamscape Empyrean. You can reach out to us through DMs. Our email is dreamscapeempyrean@gmail.com. Send us a message or email us, and we can get to chatting, and we'll get you scheduled for the show. This is an open invitation for any creative artist out there, and you don't even have to just be an artist. Anything that you can do. We've had small businesses, clowns, doctors of psychology, anything you can do indie, anything that you create, which we all know choice is the very essence of creation. If you are out there doing it, trying to make your dreams come true, and you want a platform, we're here for you. That's what this podcast is about. And if you love what we're doing, please consider supporting us. Give us a like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube. Help us grow that way. Share us with your friends. If you know anybody who might want to be on the show too, send it their way. Other than that, I think that's all I got. So one more time, let's give it up for Dreams of ZEPHYRUS for joining us on today's episode. Thank you guys for tuning into episode 20 of Indie Synergy Exchange. It's been an amazing ride. I am so grateful for the crew that I get to work with on a weekly basis. Rachel, Frae, Katie. I know Katie and Frae aren't here for this episode, but honestly, this team has been incredible, and learning how to do a podcast together has been such an incredible journey for me, especially. So I want to thank my team, especially because without them, this wouldn't even be possible. So thank you, Rachel. And yes, on that note, I think we'll sign off on this episode. Dreams of ZEPHYRUS, do you have anything else that you would like to share with your audience? A word of encouragement to sign us off?
I just want to thank everyone for being here. Again, if you've ever thought about doing anything, creative or not creative, anything. If you want to get into jump roping, if you want to go, do anything, you should do it. It doesn't hurt anyone. Definitely, there's no harm in putting yourself out there and doing or trying to do what you love. Like it's so rewarding. And thank you all for tuning in and listening to me ramble. I love rambling, so it's great.
I love it. Yes, I'm going to go learn how to jump rope now, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Indie Synergy Exchange. Bye-bye.